Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Maria. If you watch this video and you enjoy it, don't be shy, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for any future videos on narcissistic abuse recovery and complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Today I'm starting another series, this one on narcissistic grandparents and triangulation. So let's start off by breaking it down into 3 different scenarios. Maybe you can relate to one of these. Scenario number 1 would be we have a narcissistic grandmother and possibly her husband who may be a scapegoat, right? So this looks like she calls all the shots. The husband just kind of falls in line, probably doesn't know he's being emotionally abused and does not understand the term narcissist or narcissistic abuse. Okay, so now comes their children. So a lot of times a narcissistic mother has a son. This son may be a golden child son who then turns into a narcissistic husband and then father. So this is why it's so important to break these generational curses, right? So we have a narcissistic grandmother, a scapegoat grandfather, a narcissistic son, the golden child son, now has a wife. Okay, so this wife is going to come across a lot of different things, especially when she has children. Even before she has children, the narcissistic grandmother may try to create a wedge. A narcissistic mother, when we're talking about the golden child son, this mother needs to be number 1 in the son's life. Okay, period. So the mother a lot of times uses triangulation to create a wedge between the narcissistic son and his new wife. Maybe it's not even his wife yet, and she gives this girl a lot of trouble when she's trying to come into the family, okay? This is used to break her down, make her understand that this narcissistic mother is number 1 in the son's life. So now when children come into play, we now have a narcissistic father in the dynamic, right? So we have these children who are going to display signs of kids who are in the early stages of emotional abuse. So before they get to the stage of having complex post-traumatic stress disorder from long-term abuse, because they have this narcissistic father/caretaker. Okay, so at this point, when children are involved, we have to think about the parenting styles of their mother, of the children. You know, the wife of this narcissistic son is now going to have her own parenting styles that have nothing to do with the narcissistic grandmother. But when the grandmother comes into play, the narcissistic mother will definitely be put down. Her parenting styles will be put down, especially if she ever complains about her husband to his mother. Okay, so this wife it's going to be known by this narcissistic grandmother that this wife has a very specific role. She has a certain place and she lives in a box, and she is not allowed to step outside of the lines of this box that has been created by these emotional abusers. This makes it really difficult, and the narcissistic wife can feel trapped in this marriage because even if she tries to get out, right, she's beat down by the narcissistic her mother-in-law, and then we have the father-in-law who probably just falls in line and does whatever his wife wants him to do. So that spot of being the wife of a golden child husband who has a narcissistic mother is extremely challenging when we talk about triangulation. Scenario number 2. So here we have a narcissistic mother and a narcissistic father, a scapegoat daughter. So in this case, the daughter has already had these vicious inner critic thoughts of, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not smart enough. and has gone through this long-term emotional abuse. Well, we know, and hopefully we understand at this point, that a lot of times we get into toxic relationships with narcissistic partners because they mirror the relationships that we had as we were children from people who we wanted to accept us, like our parents. So if we have two parents who are narcissists who then have a daughter, this daughter is a scapegoat. This daughter may get into a marriage with a narcissistic man because he is familiar to her. Okay, if this is the case, and this daughter has children, then we have to understand that at this point, this daughter is still going to be the scapegoat. Okay, so the narcissistic grandparents may put this daughter down in front of her children, in front of her spouse. Her spouse might be okay with it and not stand up for her, right? We're not used to narcissistic partners standing up for us, right? So the husband may not stand up for the wife in this case, even if the wife feels trapped in the marriage and wants her children to be safe and doesn't want to be in this situation. If she goes to the parents might discourage her from leaving her narcissistic husband. Maybe the husband is a doctor, maybe he's a lawyer, maybe he makes he's a good businessman by means of financially, he does financially well. So we're talking about the parents are not somebody that you can go to and say, I think I'm being abused by my husband. They would be, the two narcissistic grandparents would be the ones to say, don't leave, you'll never find better. Scenario number 3 is a narcissistic grandfather who has a scapegoat son. And in these scenarios, he also may have a golden child or an invisible child son, but we'll concentrate on his relationship, the narcissistic father with his scapegoat son. This scapegoat son then has children. The narcissistic grandfather may try to strip that scapegoat son of his masculinity in front of his children. May try to, tell stories of how amazing his life was, how much better he did than his son, how he wished his son could have followed in his footsteps, how his son never added up to what he wanted, but that the children maybe could. This is triangulation because the grandfather is putting the son down in order to make himself look better, which we know narcissists are great at doing. So when he does this, this makes his children idolize the narcissistic grandfather. They may then partake in putting their father down. They may look at their father like he is less than, and they may want to be more like their narcissistic grandfather. It just completely depends on the children's level of empathy. But this, again, is another example of how grandparents triangulate their children. So let's finish this video off by me giving you 3 different tips on what you can do if you are being triangulated by a narcissistic grandparent. Well, the first thing is to go no contact. I know that's tough. It's really, really hard, but the best way to stop being abused is to stop being around the person that is abusing you, okay? Giving your brain, your limbic system in your brain, time to heal. So the first suggestion that I have is to go no contact. Number 2 is to separate the narrative that they have placed on your life from who you really are as a person. So to have a strong sense of self, knowing who you are so that when you are around this person, you can leave saying, that's just them being them. I'm going to go back to my life, instead of carrying the narratives that they put on you and all of these false things that they're feeding and attaching it to your identity and walking throughout your life thinking that that's really who you are. And the third thing I would suggest is to have some one-liners if you're going to be in contact with the narcissistic grandparents, like, thank you for sharing, I'm sorry you feel that way. Things that are going to keep conversations short and sweet, so that, again, we do not go ahead and give them what they want, which is more narcissistic supply, more reason to emotionally abuse. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, don't be shy, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for any future videos on narcissistic abuse recovery and complex post-traumatic stress disorder. And as always, I wish you all the love in the world.